Hi, I'm Mr. V, and today's lesson is from Illustrative Mathematics, Geometry Unit 1, the second half, which is on rigid transformations. And this is Lesson 14, Defining Rotations. Previously, we explored rotations, and today we're actually going to get into defining them. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to say, I can describe a rotation by stating the center and the angle of rotation and the direction. Three things. I can draw rotations. So for the bell work, we had these questions, and you were supposed to compare which angles were congruent. To be congruent, you have to map the pre-image onto the image with a finite set of rigid transformations. In other words, you can take one figure and lay it directly on top of the other by doing rigid transformations. So this looks like angle B. I could have called it CAB or ABC. Angle B and angle H are a little bit wider than angle E. And I'm using just the very center letter, which is the vertex angle. So I would have angle E and angles B and H would be congruent, or ABC and GHL. My strategy for the second one would be to take a piece of paper. If I take a piece of paper, it's got a right angle, and I can lay it up on the angle. So I can see angle Z is acute, angle S is obtuse just a little bit, and angle B is also obtuse just a little bit. So angle S and B, notice I use the middle angle, and the middle letter to identify the angle. These would be congruent. Third one's a little bit trickier, but these circles all look the same size, and it looks like the first two are acute a little bit more so than the third one. The third one is a little bit fatter. So V and J would be congruent. V and J, which would be this first one. And the final one, this is very confusing. Look at all these circles, and they're all different sizes. But I'm focusing on the angles. And again, I'll take my piece of paper. I look at angle H. It's acute. It's less than 90 on my paper. Angle B is obtuse, and angle E is also acute. So H and E, and they're both a little bit acute. So these two are going to be the same size. And it doesn't matter if I use DEF or TEU to name them. The angle is what I'm looking at, not the sides, not the side lengths, just the angles. In this next part, I introduced the info gap. This is our second one to do, and there are instructions here. The info gap is not trivial. It's important, and it's important because if you know why you're asking certain information and what you're asking for, then it helps your understanding develop to a greater depth. So you're given a problem card and a data card. The first decision is who has the data card, who has the problem card. And it doesn't matter because you're going to switch partners down the road for the second activity that we do. But just don't peek at the other person's card. The blue box will allow you to look at the card. You can study it. You can figure out what questions you're going to ask. And once you have enough information to both solve it, you both look at both cards, and you solve this individually. You compare your answers. If they're the same, then you just copy them down. If they're not the same, you have to talk about them and see who you agree with or who you concur with. Now, to do this activity, there's a couple of things that will help you. First of all, to define a rotation, you have to have the center of rotation. You have to have the degrees or the angle that it's going to be rotated by. And you have to have the direction. Is it clockwise or counterclockwise? So if you're going to be asking questions, these are questions that you could ask. What is the center? What is the degrees or the angle? What is the direction? Is it clockwise or counterclockwise? And another question you could ask is, what is the image of? The image, you start at the pre-image, and where it goes to is always called the image. So if I'm doing a transformation of any kind, whether it's a translation or a rotation or a reflection, it's going to be where you're going to is called the image. So what is the image of point D? Now I'm going to show you what we went through in class today. And this is, I'll do it in short order so that you can see it. But hopefully you'll get out of what I talk about here some sense of what is going on. Think of it, if you had the problem card, what question would you ask? So I'm going to show you both the problem card and the data card. When we do this in class, you would only see the problem card. You would not see the data card. But I'm showing you this so that you can see it for this exercise on this review. The person with the data card starts the discussion. They say, what specific information do you need? The person says, DCI, and he draws on his picture DCI. He needs to know where it's going to go to when it's rotated. I don't know what that is. What question can I ask? Oh, yeah, remember there's 3 questions. I can ask the center, the angle, the direction, and I can ask what is the image? And so he says, what is the image of D? Why do you need that information? Well, I'm trying to figure out where D rotates to. Well, I do not have that information. What specific information do you need? Can you tell me the image of C? Why do you need that information? I'm trying to see where DCI goes to. I have that information. C, the image of C is G. And on the problem card, the person writes down, this is going to go here. Oh, I don't know if it's going to go this way or how it's going to get there. What specific information do you need? Can you tell me the center of rotation? Why do you need that information? Well, if I knew the center of rotation, I might be able to figure out where these other 2 points go to. I have that information. The center of rotation is L. Here it is. I have enough information to solve this problem, I think, anyway. So then you both look at both of the cards and individually you try to figure out. You have triangle DCI. It's being transformed with this arrow to triangle what? That's what you're looking for. And C goes to G, so my middle letter is going to be G. And it looks like D goes to B and I goes to H. So I'm going to say BGH, excuse me. And when I do this, I compare this answer with my partners. If we agree, we write that in the partners box and we go on to the next exercise. The next exercise is a little bit trickier. It said several points have been rotated. Precisely describe the rotation. What do I ask? Remember, there's 3 things you could ask. You could say, what is the direction? What is the degrees? What is the center? What is the image of some point? And so the person says, oh, okay, fine. What specific information do you need to write down a card person? Can you tell me the center of rotation? Why do you need that information? I'm trying to describe the rotation. I need to know the center. And the person says, oh, I have that information. The center of rotation is N. So on my problem card, I'll write, this is my center. Yay. What specific information do you need? And the person then asked, what is the image of N? Why do you need that information? Because I don't know. I have that information. The image of N is N. Now, the image of N, if I'm rotating around this point, that means that it's always going to be going to itself. That was not a good question to ask, but it was a question that was asked and actually kind of commonly asked. Okay. What specific information do you need? Can you tell me the angle of rotation or the degrees of rotation? Why do you need that information? Well, I'm trying to define the rotation, and if I knew the degrees or the angle, then that would be one of the 3 things that I need, the center, the angle, and the direction to be able to solve this. I have that information. The angle of rotation is HNW. HNW, there it is. This is my angle that I need to be able to do that. Now I just need to know if it's going from H to W or from W to H. What specific information do you need? Can you tell me the direction of rotation? Why do you need that information? I'm trying to define the rotation, and I have the angle, I have the center, I need the direction. I do not have that information. What specific information do you need? To figure out which way it's going, I need to go if H is going to W, if W is going to H. Can you tell me the image of H? Why do you need that information? Well, if I knew the image of H was W, I know it's going this way. If I knew it's going to F, I know it's going this other way. So that's why. I have that information. The image of H is W. I have enough information to solve this. So we each go to our own corner. We look at both cards. We try to write it down. I'm going to say the center is at N. The angle is angle HNW. The direction, let's see, this is going to go clockwise because it's going this way. And I'm going to compare my answer with my partners. If we agree, we will continue and go on. If we don't agree, we will go back and try again and discuss it until we come to an agreement. Well, I think it's this because. I think it's this because. Okay, fine. I agree with you. And then you write down the common answer. On page 23, is a tutorial. I mean, it's a GeoGebra task. I'm going to walk through it here in the video. You can slow this down, take it at your own pace. You can do it whatever, so that you can watch it over again. I'm going to follow the instructions here explicitly. So if you want to read the instructions, you can, but you can watch my video and you can see how this is done. We start with segment AB. We're going to rotate it. That's the third tool to the left, rotation tool. We're going to rotate this figure around point B by 90 degrees, and we're going to go clockwise. And then that's going to take me to A prime. When I make this polygon, A prime, B prime, this makes a certain kind of polygon. What is it? It's a triangle. What kind of triangle? It's a right triangle because it's 90 degrees. Well, what kind of right triangle? How do you classify it by its sides? It's going to be isosceles. It's going to be these two. Why do I know it's isosceles? Because I translated this, I rotated this piece AB to AB prime. When you rotate, it retains the same length. The second part of this activity from down here, which I will now demonstrate, is to construct segment CD. So when I do CD, and then it says to rotate this around point D 30 degrees counterclockwise. That's what the instructions say. So I'm going to rotate this around this point. I'm going to go 30 degrees counterclockwise. The default is counterclockwise. If I wanted to go clockwise, but I wanted to use the counterclockwise, I could say this is negative. In Desmos, you have to use negative if you're going to go clockwise. So we're going to just say counterclockwise, and there it is. And now we're going to rotate this another 30 degrees around point D. So I'm going to go 30 degrees counterclockwise. And that takes me to C double prime. When I make the polygon, I have C double prime. And this is D double prime. It's also D, and it's also D prime. But it makes this triangle. And when I do a drag test, you can see that this triangle retains its properties. It is equilateral. And how do I know it's equilateral? Well, I translated this 30 degrees and 30 degrees. It's the same length, and 30 and 30 is 60. And this is isosceles, and these base angles are going to be the same. So this 60, 60, 60, and each of the sides is going to be the same. Now, the big idea from this lesson is rotation requires a center, an angle, and a direction. Center, degrees, and direction. And you can read the rest of this on your own. Make sure that this makes it to your reference document. You should be recording this in your reference document. If we were in brick and mortar, I would be checking to see that you would put this into your reference document. On page 25, through the rest of this is the lesson. Andre is trying to rotate this 45 degrees. And he's doing some things right, he's doing some things wrong. And you have to determine what he's doing right, what he's doing wrong. It looks like he knows. To me, I'm going to tell you my answer. Try to write your answer first, because this is a spoiler alert. Looks like he knows he's supposed to go by the same angle. Maybe it's 45 degrees each time. It also looks like he's going in the right direction. He's going from B to B prime, B to B prime, A to A prime. So he's going in the same direction. What he's not doing is using the center. Here he's using the center D, and then E, and then F. He's changing the center. You have to have a center, an angle, and a degrees, or a direction. He's got the angle and the direction, but he doesn't always use the same center. Here, we'll rotate this by 45 degrees. I'm going to move it over so that I can get to it when I pull out the tools. To do the tools, I'm going to choose transform. I'm going to choose transform. Define the transformation will be a rotation. The point we're going to rotate around is B. We're going to rotate 45 degrees. And then I have to choose the object I want to rotate. So I'll choose all of this, and I'll apply it. When I do, I get to this point. Notice I can move point A around. It's still going to be rotated 45 degrees. See, it's still going to be rotated 45 degrees around point B. On the next one, which is the last one before you just tell me how you did, we're supposed to rotate AB to match up with this thing here. I need to know what the angle is. So I'm going to figure out what the angle is by measuring it. Notice we have to measure this in counterclockwise order. Otherwise, it will give me the long way around. Here I want 46 degrees. So I'm going to go from here to here. This distance is 46 degrees, or either way, it's going to be 46 degrees. Now, I want to do a transformation. I'm going to do a rotation. What am I going to do? I'm going to rotate around point B. How many degrees? I want to go 46 degrees. So I will write in here 46 degrees. And the object I want to do is segment AB. when I applied that, oh dear, it went the wrong direction. So I really want to go negative 46 degrees. Negative 46 degrees will take it counterclockwise. The default is clockwise. In Desmos, to specify clockwise, you have to do it negative. And that's all I've got for you today. So please make your comments as far as how you felt about the understanding, and good luck and success.